which is more dense. Cold air is more dense. Remember, that's going to sink. And which one rises? Warm air, because it is less dense. Which is more humid? Warm air. Think of summer. In summertime, it's more humid. And it creates a low pressure air mass. Warm air, because it is less dense, so it rises. So that's going to create a low pressure air mass. So that's just kind of a recap of the information we have been going over recently. Okay. So previously we looked at wind on a larger scale. Now we're going to talk about it more on a smaller scale and look at it more locally. So local winds are the smaller scale winds, and these are produced like in a certain area, and a lot of that has to do with the landscape and the hills and the trees and the buildings in an area. So local winds are caused by topography effects or by variations in the surfaces, land and water in the immediate area. So we have a lot of hills, we have a lot of trees in this area. We also have, of course, the river plays a big effect. So all of that is going to take into account the amount of wind. Now, when I lived in Garden City, the wind was a huge factor there. It was an everyday thing to have these huge wind gusts. And that was just because we did not have anything to block the wind. It was super flat. And because it was so flat, the wind would gust really, really strongly. We would get 50, 60 mile per hour winds daily. And so it was also very dusty because there was not a lot of vegetation and it was so dry. So gusty, very strong winds was just a daily kind of thing.
Most likely a sleeping flash.
What?
Not sleeping.
You got that? Most likely to see them. What did you get?
I'm not.
Bryce.
You can live
Most likely to succeed. That's what.
I go
Yeah, right.
Most likely.
That's literally Jacob.
Most likely. I got
No.
High school.
Bryce had Andrew.
This airs, this study got 7 pages.
I'm pretty sure. What'd you get, Dylan? We got the Andrew.
Bryce got.
Mostly because
Bryce
the
got.
question was
Bryce.
spaced out. Yeah, right. Look at it, they're spaced
Senioritis.
out. They're only assigned. No, it was fine with us.
My dad never.
No, it's next week.
All right, so during the day, winds blow onshore in like a sea area. So if you have a coastal area that has an ocean nearby, that's called a sea breeze. So the wind is, during the day, the wind blows onshore. And during the night, the wind blows offshore, and that's called a land breeze. And this is due to temperature and pressure issues. So pressure and temperature changes.
Drama King. No, that's the Bryce one.
It's not true.
Then I got senioritis.
Sorry.
John did.
That's the stupidest thing I've ever seen. Opinion? Yeah, exactly.
What'd you get?
Not even.
He got Drama King. John got most likely sleeping Calais.
I got senioritis.
You got drama queen?
King, right? Drama King.
Don't make King.
That's pretty dramatic.
Actually, I think you're the queen. Carly's the king.
That's so
Probably do.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had to. It was stupid. I believe he's still never coming back. Yeah, John Custis.
John never gonna sleep again. Just getting cracked out on Red Bulls. Red Bulls in 5 hours.
I drank 2 or 5 hours.
Andrew, you make 10 hours.
Wow.
Yeah. I guess you're right.
I guess he didn't
This
have
shows
to
kind
buy
of how the wind pattern works, how it changes, and a lot of that is due to temperature and warming and cooling air. So during the day, the wind travels up the mountain slopes. So this is mountain and valley. So again, a lot of it has to do with the landscape. So during in a mountain valley area, during the day, the wind travels up the mountain, which is called a valley breeze, and during the night, the wind travels down the mountain, so that's called a mountain breeze. Again, having to do with temperature and pressure differences.
What? Hang on. I'm doing work, Brandon. No.
Tyler.
Shut her up. Hang on. I'm about to kiss you, man. You better stop. Okay.
What?
That's a good shot, man. Good shot. How do you do it so fast?
Miss Ayers, am I supposed to use my brain on these, or am I supposed to look it up?
Me and you know.
What one?
I gave up on it.
No, I didn't.
You what?
I gave up on it.
Well, then you're stuck.
You bring that with you? You don't? Mason's
It's also a
completely
good thing I videotaped.
goes outside the doors, goes in the hallway.
Horse drive land on Look like the lake.
You could get a leg sub. It's like, what is the ranking? I can't even say aluminum. You got aluminum melted down from your Red Bull. Yeah, acid from the Red Bull. It's like more stuff. I don't know. Aluminium.
This one is also showing kind of how it changes, so the warm air and the cool air, how it goes differently depending on the mountain and the valley. So, how is the wind measured? There are two basic wind measurements, direction and speed. You can measure which direction it's going and what the speed is. So winds are always labeled by the direction from which they blow, north, east, south, and
West.
Thank you. And so you can, you're measuring from which direction they are blowing to which direction they are going. And then you can also measure the speed of the wind.
Where that crap? Just wanna mess up my hair. What'd you just say?
Oh my God, hurry up.
anymore.
Remember what, Braden?
Remember that time you always like all drove around? I got pulled over.
That was like the only time I was with you in the car. Yeah, look at this thing, John.
Who you riding
Probably John.
Yeah, I think it's me.
Or no, you got me on, because we went to your.
I picked you up.
What is
Yeah,
this?
because we went to your uncle, dropped off the shop.
I don't know.
Well, we went to your boss, and your dad and your mom were absolutely hammered. Your dad said, "Come on, the man can dunk."
I can go.
Tyler said you got it to me.
So to measure direction, you use a wind vane. To measure speed, you use something called an anemometer. An anemometer has these little cups on them, and the little cups kind of catch the wind, and that can spin really fast if the wind is going fast, and it'll slow down if the wind slows down. But a wind vane will point to the direction that the wind is blowing.
Black Rage. No, I said Black Rage.
True racist,
Fox, do you even know what Black Rage means? You know, you don't know, it's cool. That's something
And some
cool.
size like 32 volts.
Yeah, it's certain teams bought it. You're on the basketball team, you don't play.
I'm not trying to literally all you gotta do is put on a crown for about 5 seconds.
It's my phone.
It's a gun.
So prevailing winds are when the wind constantly blows more often from one direction than another. And we already talked about this. In the United States, the westerlies constantly move weather from west to east across the continent. So that would be a prevailing wind. It's prevailing wind because it's pretty consistent, not much variation. I mean, you may get some blowing from the southwest or from the northwest, but generally blowing from west to east. Yes, that's
I was about to ask.
Mine.
Nah, brother. Nah, brother. Can I go to the bathroom when Matt gets back? Thank you.
I'm pretty close in my freshman.
We're not.
All those.
315.
At hang clean like 185 or you do. Or not,
It was way worse than mine.
not freshman year.
Are we?
No, it wasn't, because that's when it was absolutely yoked.
That, well,
That's when my vertical pull, my drop thing.
no, no. It's like 30 minutes. It is the worst few years.
One female. Squat 7.
What? Nothing.
Okay.
Is that bad?
Maybe recorded it.
For you?
Back in the day, some women in Scotland were squatting 800-pound frees, no problem.
That's terrible. How I want
So El Nino is a weather pattern that causes wind variation and also interesting weather situations. At regular intervals of 3 to 7 years, these warm countercurrents become unusually strong and replace normally cold offshore waters with warm equatorial waters. So it creates these weather patterns that cause a natural storms, and the storms are going to cause
Bring it on. Please report to the office. Bring it on to the office.
they're going to cause like severe weather and weird temperature fluctuations, extreme like rain and things like that. So it's going to cause unique weather patterns. And sometimes you'll hear them say it's because of El Nino. El Nino.
Five.
I've been whipped today and I've been sprayed.
Oh, can I whip you?
Don't come back, Joe. Oh my God.
Yeah. How much is power for Hank?
Actually,
I think Hankling is,
max is 235. 235.
I think Hankling is so much easier.
Yeah, you still do it. No, I lost it.
Hankling, I was able to.
I can do more if I don't have it on the ground. Like if I put it on the ground, I can't do that.
You have to
But
have.
if I just do it like this and then go on like
For
this.
power clean, yeah. For
Like,
Hankling,
why?
yeah.
Does you have last one?
Yeah, I haven't.
When we were doing Hankling for the first time, I think my max was like.
I can't do
My
it.
power, when we were doing Hankling and power clean, I think my power clean was only like.
Well, it's on the anyway. I do the bar, that's it, I stop. It like stresses me out.
I already had it up, and
And
then
I have
I
this bad
just
shoulder, I go up here and that's it. I cannot,
God, that would be
I go
pretty big.
down with my.
Like, do you remember, okay, do you remember the first
I'm so
time
scared
we
to
were
jump
doing,
around again.
like, when we
No, I
actually
can't feel my
plates and
wrist. I'm not
when we were benching and then out of nowhere, we were like, yeah, put on a plate, we're just.
So La Nina is the opposite of El Nino. When surface temperatures in the Pacific Ocean are colder than average, a La Nina event is triggered. So basically, El Nino is going one way, La Nina is going the other way. So it's just like the opposite direction of each other. One's going one way, the other's going the other way.
I can't see it. Let me see.
I'm so close to it.
225.
It's 10 pounds.
Still.
Are we maxing out, Bruce?
Well, what was your PR before?
Like
195?
185.
Exactly, it's still a huge PR.
That's not that.
I didn't know you were like that.
I feel like Bryce is most likely to be steroid.
Yes.
I don't need any more injury issues, so.
I don't have anger issues.
No, bro, all you need to be is just doing dog school.
My freshman year was
It's
fun.
like in the whole class, just tying
Shooting up.
tying a shoelace around your arm.
My freshman year.
What? How many more notes do we got?
I don't know.
Yes.
I'm tired.
It's just Monday. I'm not used to being here on Monday.
Yeah, I am. It's not a weekend, on Monday. Oh, you know,
After I sprained my
You.
This is the last slide.
But you don't hear. I don't remember.
La Nina can cause winter to be colder than normal in northwest to Great Plains. Increased precipitation in the northwest. So The La Nina effect is typically colder and more precipitation in general.
Raining. There's you.
That's
Oh.
26 on what?
And Mary Worth Law.
You don't know the score here?
No, Charlie just. Charlie just.
I'm gonna show you two years.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Edwards, you got it here.
Oh.
All right.
I
scored 12-6.
Dude, they have them constant for me. They usually have them every day. Yeah, it just goes out for a second.
Start happening to you like
Me too. It's probably like the smallest amount of brain damage ever.
It's like that, and then I think it's like the call
Alright, so that's all. The new assignment is the study guide to help you prepare for your test, which is Thursday. That's the only assignment for this week. And other than that, we're working on our final. Don't forget, all late work due by Friday. I'm not taking anything else after Friday. Thank you for waiting till afterwards. Questions? Okay.